A warm welcome back to the channel from Cathay Pacific's continued comeback to all Nippon Airways grounding aircraft, and lastly there's a new route. Why not begin with, no doubt I'd argue probably the biggest story, and that is ANA becoming the latest major international airline to be impacted by ongoing engine difficulties, which is hurting its ability to fly Boeing 787 Dreamliners on the route network it would want to. Fleet data indicates that the 787 Dreamliner is its most important long-haul wide-body aircraft when measured by delivered units. However, of the 85 jets that have already been delivered, 7 units are parked. The impacted planes are spread across the 787-8, where 2 jets are listed as grounded. The bulk load, however, comes from the 787-9, where 5 units are listed as parked, bringing the total to 7 per the latest data. Those groundings follow the persistent engine issues that are impacting our broader aviation industry, and most notably these airlines that operate the 787 aircraft with the Rolls Royce Trent 1000 engines. One of the toughest parts of this ongoing engine crisis is also the uncertainty over when things will actually show any signs of improvement, and how these affected airlines will actually be able to obtain the parts that they require to continue flying. ANA remains one of the lucky airlines, confirming in Aviation Week's reporting and interviews with the press that it is actually able to mitigate most of the impact it is facing. While obviously these groundings are no doubt frustrating, things could be a lot worse. Mitigating the impact is largely being done through spare aircraft and also very careful network optimization to ensure that large gaps don't start forming as aircraft remain on the ground. Definitely a testament to the rigid operation that ANA operates to allow it to really work its way around this. Unfortunately, however, not all airlines have the same luxury as all Nippon Airways, and engine difficulties that lead to aircraft groundings can have a colossal impact on the ability to operate, therefore having a knock-on effect on an airline's financial performance and many other fundamental areas of its business. Most recently, the Rolls Royce engine saga caused international companies such as British Airways and Thai Airways to make major changes to their own operation in order to continue operating. British Airways revealed it would axe routes in the short term, in the hopes that this would ensure that the flights it would continue offering would arrive on time. Meanwhile, Thai Airways openly expressed its own frustrations with the lack of certainty related to getting spare parts and generally the maintenance of its engines completed. For example, it said that typically when it sent off an engine, it should come back within 90 days. Now that's stretching to over 120. So basically it's ballooning out and it's completely out of their control. So they can't really project when a plane is going to return to them, which is going to have an issue on their network. These two recently outspoken airlines aren't the only ones affected by the Rolls-Royce engine crisis, and it's ultimately not just Rolls-Royce either, with companies such as Pratt & Whitney and their own geared turbofan engine problems also feeling the heat. It's been one of the industry's most talked about points, and now airlines are coming out and really sharing their thoughts. Over to Cathay Pacific, who have published their traffic figures for October this year, which do show substantial improvements across the board following their continued recovery efforts. Just over 2 million passengers were carried last month, representing a 19.6% increase year over year. Cathay has remained very much focused on improving its network wherever possible. Therefore, you're saying increasing services to existing markets and also returning to ones that were axed during the pandemic. This very rapid recovery, while long in the making, has allowed the Hong Kong-based carrier to see its results continue to improve on a steady basis, and it hopes this will only continue well into 2025. In October, your revenue passenger kilometres, or RPKs, increased 19.1% from the same period 1 year prior, while available ASKs jumped 21.3%. The only drop in this release visible was with its passenger load factors, which experienced a very minor 1.6 percentage point drop, bringing the total to 83.1%. It isn't uncommon to see decreases in overall passenger load factors, especially when airlines are looking to increase their overall network on maybe a more rapid basis. Cathay Pacific, many would argue, has had probably one of the biggest tasks in terms of rebuilding its network, because while markets such as the United States, even extending over towards European countries, were able to thrive and regain a lot of their traffic, you may recall that for Cathay Pacific, well, all their aircraft were grounded, and they've really been one of the airlines that had to wait the longest to get its planes back in the air. With time, Cathay Pacific will obviously want passenger load factor numbers to continue growing or remain steady across this metric and many others. However, they will continue to evaluate routes and take the time to really best optimize their available assets. In 2024, that being the first 10 months of this year, we saw some massive jumps across the board, with 18.5 million passengers carried across the first 10 months. That's a 27.4% jump for the same period 1 year prior. It really is showing the direction that Cathay Pacific is heading as it attempts to continue working to pre-pandemic capacity levels across many markets. There were also increases for the Cathay cargo network, with 142,000 tons give or take transported, representing a 14% increase. Cargo revenue ton kilometers also increased from 2023, with your cargo load factors jumping 0.8 percentage points up to 61.5%. Looking ahead, well, Cathay are projecting a very strong Christmas travel demand season. They hope that this will propel results forward and mean that 2024 will end on a high. The Hong Kong-based carrier further expects a lot of demand in Japan, which will be one of its top destinations. Furthermore, there will be inbound demand from North America, the United Kingdom, and more, with people coming to Hong Kong to see families and friends for the seasonal time. Thanks to the launch of many new services, new destinations and returning ones will form an important part of their focus moving forward, from the likes of flights to Cairns to the recent announcement that they would be recommencing service to Hyderabad in 2025. Over to the final story, and Royal Jordanian is expanding its international network by launching a new service in the United States. The carrier has confirmed that service will be launched to Washington Dulles in time for the upcoming schedule, marking this a new transatlantic destination. Twice weekly flights will be offered between Amman and Washington DC, expected to complement the already existing commitment that they have to the country. As part of that very US network I speak of, the airline already serves airports from the likes of New York JFK, Detroit, and Chicago O'Hare. Service will commence on the 23rd of March 2025, and if you're curious, well, Royal Jordanian will be operating its flagship wide-body aircraft to Washington in the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. With time and the continued development of its fleet, alongside obviously a massive focus on how demand moves, there is hope that the US network will expand further. Royal Jordanian loves the 787 Dreamliner and is actually going to be growing its commitment to this fleet type. While it has 7 of these 787 jets to its name, all are for the Dash 8, but at the 2023 Dubai Air Show, the company believed a new order was necessary. So, 4 additional 787-9s were ordered, bringing the total backlog for the middle ground variant to 6 units. They say once delivered, it'll not only complement the Dash 8s, but present a wide array of opportunities for themselves as a company. That'll conclude today's aviation news recap. Thanks a bunch for your support here on the channel. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for another industry recap.